Hello there. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. I am so excited to talk about this episode. We just watched episode 3. I almost said Revenge of the Sith of Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was a fucking amazing episode. If you guys haven't watched it already, it's now out on Disney Plus. And I was actually really shocked because I thought it was going to come out on Friday, but I guess now they come out on Wednesday. So if anybody's confused, make sure you're staying up on Tuesday nights and not Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Because I know we messed up our schedule already. But there's a lot to break down. Akram, why don't you start us off with how you felt about this episode since you just watched it?
It was wonderful. I'm glad we kind of got like a nice showdown between Darth and Obi-Wan. I like the effects too. I love how Hayden looks as well. We got some shots of his face. And just that little suit up scene too was like iconic. I feel like a lot of people are going to be talking about that for a long time. It reminded me so much of the comics. And I love the relationship, the little thing going on between Leia and Obi-Wan. I find it really cute. It reminds me a lot of like Logan a little bit, but a little bit more PG.
Like the Hound kind of.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Exactly. That's another good point. Because this episode felt like a lot like Game of Thrones, especially like towards when Darth actually we see him like doing some stuff at the towards the end of it. But it was brutal. I think the ending especially was like really brutal, and I can't wait for the next episode. So without further ado, tell us what you think.
No, I agree as well. It was such a reward for me being such a big fan of the prequels, and Hayden and Ewan were always my favorite parts of the Star Wars saga. So seeing their reunion back for this episode was really it was really heartwarming, but it was also kind of tragic in a way because this is the first time that Obi-Wan's seen Darth Vader back after 10 years. So it was really heartbreaking seeing his reaction to seeing his old friend back, and he has to fight him. But this episode opens up obviously with right after episode 2, where they're escaping from Dayu, and Obi-Wan's meditating in the ship, and I thought that was like a very like it was almost like a biblical reference in a way, like him like trying to reach out to Qui-Gon. It's almost like Jesus like calling out to God, like give me strength, right? And then he's having like flashbacks of like Vader and everything that happened during Revenge of the Sith, and I was really and then in tandem we see Vader getting, like you said, suit up and being like assembled with his armor and his costume and everything. And we see like a little bit of like Hayden's like head, just a little bit, and then that final that iconic helmet comes down and covers his face. So I thought that was a really cool scene because it explores so much more than we saw in Rogue One. And then we see Vader in full suit, and he looks amazing. And we get James Earl Jones voicing him once more. So that was really cool, and it really feels like we're watching like Vader from like maybe like one of his comic series, like him like you know talking with Riva and like interacting with the Inquisitor and stuff. So Riva, excuse me, is telling Darth, obviously they've tracked Obi-Wan down, or they're trying to track him down because he's escaped. But I like that little interaction between them because Riva's character, in a way, kind of reminds me of Anakin because she's been so she thinks she deserves a lot more than what she gets. That's why she killed the Grand Inquisitor. So it's kind of like a foil for like Anakin in a way, because like how he felt like he was being held back by like the Jedi Council in a way. So I think Darth is really like playing on that too, because he's like, I sense what you want, third sister. So he's using that to get what he wants to. But I love seeing Vader's castle again on Mustafar. What did you think seeing it back?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. The CGI was great too. Yeah, and just seeing him after suiting up and then just sitting down there, it gave me so much like Palpatine vibes. And also again, it reminds me so much of the comics, which I love because the comics aren't so like Skywalker saga like influenced, where like there's a bigger picture instead of trying to delve into these characters. So especially like the way how James Earl Jones kind of like does his lines and just just the script. It reminded me a lot of the comics, because Vader in the comics too was very manipulative. When the story at the moment wasn't really focused on him, it was more focused on like the journey that he's going on. So I really hope that at least later we'll get a little bit more insights on the emotion behind the suit, what he's feeling. I think we got a little bit of that towards the end of the episode. So, but I really like that. I really like that interaction he has, with the Inquisitore, especially. And I really am getting also like some Star Killer vibes as well. Like I wonder if she's gonna be like that version of Star Killer. Like instead of bringing Sam Witwer, I mean, hey, I would love to see Star Killer like make some appearance one day. But we'll probably get that. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen, but you know, the Jedi Fallen Order sequel, Jedi Fallen Survivor or something, Jedi Survivor. We do get like a little reference of like a Star Killer esque character. So I wonder how that all kind of connects together.
Yeah, I wonder if she if she makes it out this season, if we're gonna see her character again, maybe in the Jedi Fallen Order sequels.
Mm,
Like, cause
yeah,
there
I
probably more
wonder.
Inquisitors than we know about that we've just seen like on screen. So maybe there's like you said, because you're mentioning before like how we didn't see every Inquisitor in the beginning,
Right.
but it could be just like they're off on other missions looking for other Jedi too.
Hmm.
So I wonder if like we'll see more of them, and then maybe we'll eventually see like Riva and like other properties.
Yeah, I think that we may see her as a younger Reva, and because Jedi Fallen, I think Survivor. I know it's some confusing name. I think that it takes place 5 years after the first game, which is crazy to hear. And Obi-Wan takes place apparently 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So I think Riva could be like midway there, and we'll probably get some more insights. Hopefully, I mean that's what I'm hoping at least, because it was a perfect time to reveal the game, especially with Obi-Wan just coming out. So I think she has like a bigger part to play in the future. And I hopefully we also see some Afra. That's what I'm wondering. I was like, I know that Afra like comes into the picture like when Luke is still like a teenager, like after A New Hope or something like that, or at least in the Star Wars comics, he's still like a farmer. But I would love to see some reference. I mean, maybe it's a long shot since the story's so focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan and that journey that he's having with Leia.
Hmm.
But I want to see some more Clone Wars characters too, which we do get a reference of. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, are you referring to the
Quinlan
reference?
Voss.
Okay.
Hey.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit, but before that, I going back to the episode, just we also see the Inquisitor base, which I thought was really cool. It was like a fucking like it's like this grand like hall, like you see like all these Imperials. I thought it was really. It almost felt like the Raft from Marvel, like how it's like set in the middle of the ocean, but it's like they've got like all these operatives like running things and like that Inquisitorius room I thought was really interesting. It's like underneath the sea. So like
Hmm.
you get like, the sea life like floating around it, but also I think I don't know how many people noticed this, but in that room there was like this trim around it, and it kind of looked like there was lightsabers sitting like in that trim. Like it could be like Jedi's lightsabers that they collected maybe. I just thought it was a little thing, like some people might not even notice it, but I thought that was really interesting. But Riva is butting heads with, I believe his name is fifth brother, Kung Sang's character. So they're trying to, fight for who's gonna lead the Inquisitorius now that the Grand Inquisitor is dead. And she's also blaming this on Obi-Wan. So I think Darth Vader doesn't know that she was the one that killed him too. But he probably knows. He's just bullshitting because he doesn't even care. He literally said like the Grand Inquisitor means nothing to me. I just want Obi-Wan. Um, so I thought that was interesting how like there's so like animosity between them. So like there's like infighting within the Inquisitores too. Um, but then going back, we see Obi-Wan and Leia, and they're on this like farming and mining planet. Um, and then they're trying to meet with this spy that the I forget that Haja from episode 2 told them to meet them on this planet, and then they're waiting there, and then like Obi-Wan's like I also love like how he doesn't really like trust anybody in this show. He's kind of just like he told Leia like there's like not everybody's good in a way, but Leia being of course like the beacon of hope that she is always like she's very trusting of people. He's like, sometimes you just got to take a chance, right? and then they meet with this mole rat trucker guy.
Mm.
I forgot his name, but I thought it was really funny. And you were saying like maybe he's like a bus driver like on this planet or something. So they take he takes them to the spaceport, and but they also he has like the Imperial, cog on the back of his truck. So Obi-Wan's like kind of like, wary too. And then he also picks up some stormtroopers on the way. And I love this scene because it was like they're trying to like, they're like undercover basically, so they give themselves like their like this false like identity, like Obi-Wan is like her father technically, and I think her name was like Luma, and he was like, I don't know, her dad or something. But he makes a little Freudian slip, and he's like, Leia. And then one of the stormtroopers is like, oh, I thought her name was Luma. And then he makes this uh little reference. I thought it was a great like alibi, but also it has some half truth to it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I don't when I say Leia, I'm thinking of her mother because she reminds me of her mother a bit." So tell me what you thought of that line.
I thought that, yeah, since the first episode, obviously he was talking about Padme instead of Satine or Satine, like you
He's
said.
never gonna let me down for that.
And yeah, I think that he has this odd relationship with her because he did see her be born, and so I thought that was really sweet as well. And also, I mean, it matches the continuity as well because Leia does know little bits and pieces about her mother, so I guess that's how she figures it out. Um, at least visually, maybe perhaps later on in a discussion behind closed doors, she talks to her father or something like that. But we don't really need to know that because that doesn't really influence the story. But for now, I mean that was really a nice representation of that. And I hope that she like asks more questions too. I think I really want to. I've been waiting a long time to hear,
Mhm.
especially Eowyn's Obi-Wan talk a little bit more about like what happened during the prequels. Um, and also it was really sad when she thought that Ewan's Obi-Wan was like her father. And in fact, obviously
Yeah.
it's Darth Vader, and she'll never figure it out. It's Darth Vader too, so that's like a
Yeah, I don't want him to give like too much away because then it kind of takes away from her shock in Return of the Jedi.
yeah. I don't think no. He's not gonna say, "Oh yeah, Anakin's your father." Oh, by the
Right.
way, I just figured out it's Darth Vader. No, he's
Mhm.
mostly about Padme. I hope, especially that she's a little girl, and Padme is like a strong female character. I hope whatever insights he gives her will influence a little bit like how she should behave. And also, she's such a diplomatic character as well because there was some reference again with like droids and stuff, and she's like so like it's not like Detroit Beyond Human or something like that. It's like
Mhm.
she really believes that everybody like should have like a choice and stuff. So I thought that was really sweet. Her characterization in this episode was like spot on as well.
Mhm. Yeah, she's so like she's very rebellious. I thought she was a little annoying in the second episode, but then she was kind of like so cute in this one. So
Mm.
I'm kind of growing on her a little bit. But then we see they're at this checkpoint, and the bus driver dude like rats them out, and he's like, "There's these strays, like you should check on them." And then the stormtroopers are a little suspicious, so they're like, "Lift your hood up." And I don't like I don't know why he put his hood on. Like that would have been more suspicious for
Mm.
me. Like if they're trying to look for Jedi, why would you put your hood on? But um, then Obi-Wan pulls out his blaster, and they have a probe droid there too. So from the Inquisitorius, they're still looking for Obi-Wan. And then they have this big shootout, and that was so violent. Like especially like the one dude who like fell on the what was it, the laser barrier, and got
Oh
like cut in
yeah,
half and shit.
yeah.
So it's so funny like how they do violence in the show. Like it's so casual.
Mm-hmm.
But then they get rescued by a new character, Tala, who's played by the actress from Game of Thrones. I forgot her name, but she was Pedro Pascal's wife in that show. So Tala is part of this like kind of like underground resistance, and it kind of made me think of like like people who helped like the Holocaust survivors, like in World War II, like escape like the Nazis and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. Like she's like helping Jedi like get like new identities. It's like kind of like a Jedi witness protection program. So I thought that was really cool. And then we see, of course, there's this safe house on this planet. Um, she reveals like there's these safe houses like all over the galaxy that lead to this planet called Jabim, which is actually a planet from the Clone Wars comic, actually. Um, and other Jedi have been to the safe house, and we get a name drop. Quinlan Voss was there also, and he's still alive at this point too, and he's helping smuggle other Jedi younglings, right? So I thought that was really cool, like how they bring it back. They name drop some characters from like lore too. So what did you think about that? Do you think we'll see Quinlan in other media or other Jedi?
Yeah, definitely not on this show, but other media. I don't know if he's really important to actually show unless they want to like do like some another type of chase story in the comics. I could imagine he'll be in the comics, not like an animated thing. He did have a novel where he was in love with Asajj Ventress, and that's where she ultimately passed away. And then Darth Maul actually took her new black market Jedi lightsaber and custom fitted to his like original Darth Maul lightsaber. So I wonder if somehow, some way or form, we'll see like a little bit of Quinlan Voss in the future, and maybe perhaps a nice discussion about Asajj Ventress. Because I tell you what, though, I do want to see a live action of Asajj Ventress. I think that'll be really cool. So I don't know if I think that's a perfect opportunity to really show her.
I've always said
Um,
we needed like an Asajj like spin-off because like I feel like they did her character so dirty in the novelization because I loved her in the Clone Wars. I thought her arc was really interesting, so I want to see like
mhm.
her like maybe like I hope they do it in Acolyte, but I don't know. I just kind of like want to see her like her beginnings like with the Dathomir witches and stuff and how she got like raised by Count Dooku and stuff.
Well, an acolyte's like in the High Republic, but I think that there's plenty of opportunities to show. She was mentioned plenty of times in the comics too, so I think that they're done with her. I think it's about time we give her a live action. And the thing is, if you do a live action show with her, there's not much you can do. It's basically like a Batman story. Like one night he's just chilling, fighting some huge character, and then the next night he's like fighting the quarter owls. So unless they do some stupid thing where it's like she goes on a grand adventure and like in the course of 1 week for some odd reason, because you also have to have an ebb and flow of the story, and so I don't know, it's hard, that's why like Obi-Wan's a perfect opportunity to show like what happened 10 years after rather than actually like what happened 20 years after. It's hard, but nonetheless, I am still excited to finally hear again Quinlan Voss like name dropped, because it was
Mhm.
like plenty of times name dropped in the Clone Wars, and we got to see him. So that was really cool to see. I'm glad that I wonder when if Cal Kestis will ever be mentioned or something like that, because we don't know what happened. Apparently, there's this grand scheme of things, and I keep mentioning the game is because the Inquisitors were like so iconic from the game as well. So, and also in the Darth Vader comics. So,
And also, what do you think of Obi-Wan mentions too? Like he has kind of like flashbacks of his own family when he's talking to Leia, and like how he might have his own brother. Like, do you think they'll expand on that in the future?
well, I would imagine that if the brother was force sensitive, they would take the brother too. So they could like expand on that in the future. I mean, there isn't an Obi-Wan Kenobi like comic series, and I keep mentioning the comics again because if you're a Star Wars fan and you really want to gain insights and knowledge on Star Wars, they explain tons. They fill in a lot of like plot holes. So unless they want to do something like that, but you have to make it impactful. I don't know how that would be, because at this time they both have forgotten each other. Certainly, Obi-Wan's brother probably has forgotten about Obi-Wan. Um, so I don't know. I mean, it could just be one of those things where it's like, yeah, I dedicated my life all to this Jedi. I found a new family, and it
Yeah,
harkens a lot with Leia as well.
I don't. I feel like it would be weird just having like him having a brother that's also force sensitive too. I think it's just like a thing where it's like it's kind of like Dumbledore's brother. Like he's not really like special. Like he's just
Mm-hmm.
probably like I don't know. He probably has like a he runs a motel or some shit like in
Mm-hmm.
the Star Wars galaxy. But it's just nice to think that maybe Obi-Wan has like a family out there that maybe I don't know who knows like what they're doing, right? It's like because you really don't think about like the Jedi had families before the temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were kind of like stripped from their families, and then they were forced to lead like this whole nother life. So just thinking about like how like what their families must have went through, giving up their child at such an early age.
Well, they showed that
Just
in the Clone Wars as well, which was pretty cool.
yeah, so that's a really interesting topic that some people forget about.
Yeah.
But moving forward, so then the next couple scenes were. really shocking to me. So the Inquisitors let Vader know that they found Obi-Wan, and we get such a good, you know, reveal for him. Like his entrance, I thought was so like terrifying because at first he starts off as like a shadow, and then you just hear like the whisper of his his breathing apparatus, and then we see like him in his full cape, and then like Obi-Wan like senses him. He can really like feel like his like presence, like he's like such in shock. But remember at this time he still doesn't know what Anakin looks like, and then we even saw like flashbacks where like or not flashbacks, but like Obi-Wan is having like visions where like he saw like Anakin like as Hayden Christensen with his robe on. So that's like the last time he remembers what Anakin looked like. So he's probably like wondering like how he looks like. Is he like because he's like, is he like burned or whatever? But then he sees him in his full suit, and he's like he's so shocked and in disbelief that he's kind of like terrified. But what do you think of like seeing Vader back in like his full? I kind of wish they had the theme song playing, but I thought it was cool too, like how it was very silent as well.
Oh yeah, it had to be silent. It was pivotal that it was silent. If there was any other music, it would defeat the purpose of the fear that he brings. No music needed. We get to focus on everyone's awe at this menacing cyborg, and I thought that it was really a strong scene as well. Finally, Obi-Wan gets to see what Anakin has become. Especially Vader, like trying to lure Obi-Wan by like hurting other people too. We also
Mhm.
see how like menacing Vader is and how evil he is. And
Yeah, he really, like, shows his ruthlessness in this
yeah,
scene, like and, like,
yeah,
some people, like, were, like, shocked that, like, he killed a kid and whatever, but, like, I'm at the same time, like, this dude, like, murdered, like, 12 younglings,
mhm,
like, in the Jedi Temple too, but, yeah, I thought that was really, like it really showed, like, what a threat Vader has become, right? He's lost basically all his humanity now, and as Obi-Wan says to Luke eventually, like, he's more machine now than man, so not just, like, in the literal sense, but also, uh just the sense that he's lost touch with everything that he was before. Like he's literally killed Anakin Skywalker. Now he's taken on the persona of Darth Vader.
mhm,
So then Obi-Wan, well, Tala helps Leia to escape. So she's taking her to this pilot that's gonna take her off world, and then Obi-Wan is like, I'll take care of Vader. I'll distract him. And then we kind of get like this scene where it's like it reminded me of like Empire Strikes Back with between like Luke and Vader, and how like Vader's so quiet and like but he'll jump out like kind of like the boogeyman at the right moment.
mhm,
Um, but I love this little confrontation scene that they had because I kind of wanted to see have them have like a little dialogue together before they fought. So Obi-Wan seeing Vader for the first time, he's like, "What have you become?" And then Vader's like, "I am what you made me." And that really hit hard for him. I feel like a little bit of Anakin came out in that scene, because it was kind of like Vader wanted him to see his full failure in a way, like now like Anakin is really dead, and it's all because of your fault, right?
mhm.
But then Obi-Wan finally ignites his lightsaber for the first time in this show. So and it was so bright and beautiful, and like seeing Vader's lightsaber too glow up. Tell me what you thought of that.
I don't know. That was awesome scene. I wanted like a full length showdown, but I feel like it's just a little taste too. It's like there's so many like little teasers or just to wet the beak a little bit before the full showdown, which I believe will happen. And I hope the Battle of the Heroes plays while they're fully going at it. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene. And also like I like how Obi-Wan's like running away from this monster too. Because he is a tall, menacing creature,
Mhm.
right? And he's the stuff of myth, basically. And I think they encapsulated that well here.
How did you feel about like the choreography? Because like I love the fighting in this episode, but we've seen like other things done like in fan films. Like there was that one Vader and Obi-Wan fan film where they're like full contact fighting. But how did you feel like it held up?
I thought it was ass, to be honest with you. I expected more, but it's okay. It's a little taste of it, and I think they got Bader's like way of fighting down pat because he's very sluggish and slow.
Mhm.
I hope there's some like plot device that they could use to allow these two to have like a Revenge of the Sith duel part two. I think that'll be really epic, something fast. Because at the end of the day, a Jedi, the way how he fights and his fighting technique is kind of like a poetry. It's an art form, and especially when two collide, it's like poetry versus poetry. It's like a poetry slam, and
Mhm.
I think it has to show a lot of emotion. Especially there's so many contrasting feelings during that fight. So all of this will make it iconic through the years, as the Revenge of the Sith thing was so iconic
Mhm.
because the build up, and I think they're trying to replicate that with this series as well. So I hope that that happens. But right now, it did feel a lot like A New Hope, which is completely fine. It's authentic, but I just feel like I hope that something allows it to escalate to
Mhm.
a raid 2 level choreography.
I thought it was I didn't mind it. I thought it was a lot better than what I thought it was gonna be. It was a lot better than New Hope, in my opinion. Just because I feel like Obi-Wan was so shocked at seeing Vader. And remember at this point, Obi-Wan's been 10 years since that last duel. So probably Obi-Wan hasn't been keeping up with his swordsmanship.
No.
This man was known for like as like the master of defense, but like now he's getting knocked out. He's getting like thrown back around. So you can really like see it like in his fighting, like he's like he's not giving it his all. And I feel like in a way it's also because he doesn't want to he probably doesn't wanna attack Vader just 'cause, like, just finding out he was alive again, just that guilt kinda, like, held him back in a way, but Vader was, like, a full menace in this, and I really love, like, how he fought because like, he wasn't even, like, using 2 hands, he was just, like, one-handing this, but, like, you could see, like, how powerful he is, like, with every strike, and then just, like, the little dialogue where he's like, "The years have made you weak." Um, I love that so much. I thought that was a really like cool first confrontation. I really hope, like you said, we see them have like a final showdown towards the end where like maybe they're full, dueling. But I thought it was all right. But then Vader does something really shocking, and I actually thought this was so poetic, where he actually he uh he knocks over like these coal rocks or whatever, and then he puts Obi-Wan in a force choke, and then he lights these coal things on fire, and he's like, what did he say? Your pain has just begun, right? So now he drags Obi-Wan through this fire, and I thought that was like so like it's poetry. It rhymes. Like he wanted him to suffer like how he suffered, right? Like in Revenge of the Sith. So what did you think about like seeing that?
Yeah, I'm wondering like if old Ben has like these burn scars because he was like severely burned from that. Yeah, I thought I think that was also like a nice. It was two things. It was like showing Vader the path to being a Sith is basically revenge also, and also kind of like I think it was a little bit of a fan service too. It was like really interesting to see actually Obi-Wan getting burned. And after all these years, people have been wondering like what's going on in Vader's head? Like what does he want to do? And we never will get that in the comics because obviously continuity. But it felt like such a strong scene. The whole like later half of the episode was like the strongest. And I can't I want it to be so dramatic, like it's like a 90 Day Fiance like feud or something, where it's like this, like. But I like my thing is, perhaps I expect too much. I don't know because the reviews aren't the best right now. But that's the same way that it was for Revenge of the Sith, so I think it'll just live with us. I'm hoping there's like a big dialogue later on, and also maybe like a torture scene. That's why I wish that Obi-Wan was like full on captured, just to allow that. So I wonder what happens next.
Yeah, because I was wondering like why Vader, because then Tala comes to help him, and then she blows up that thing, and then there's like a wall of fire between them. So I was like, why didn't Vader just use the Force to like bring him over the fire? Because he did that already. So I was like that was weird.
Mhm.
But we get like this cool like little shot where like we see like the fire in Vader's eyes, and I thought that was really cool. It's
Mm.
like he's like an agent of hell almost, like where he's so fallen from grace. But Obi-Wan does escape with Tala's help, and then the next scene, Leia actually she's running through that tunnel, and then she's about to meet the pilot, but then Riva actually catches up with her, and she finds out like all the Jedi have been through here, and they're like escaping. So I feel like this is gonna be like her big breakthrough with Vader, finding out that there's this underground network of Jedi. Um, so then Riva actually captures Leia, and then we get like a big cliffhanger at the end. But what an episode! I really felt like this was like the biggest highlight of the season so far, because we only have 3 episodes left. Um, but I think there was a really, like I said, like it was a gift to all the Star Wars fans who watched the prequels and really enjoyed Ewan and Hayden's like story. So, what are your predictions for our next episode?
I think that I don't know if Leia will ever meet Darth Vader because it'll be really weird towards the continuity that I keep mentioning. You have to like cross a thin line when you're doing this show because you can't like retcon some things, but they did that with Inquisitor, so I don't know, Grand Inquisitor at least. But I think that somehow Leia will run away, and because she did run away from like 3 grown guys in the last episode or first episode or something like that. I think we'll see more of Reva's humanity as well. Because there's like she's like angry at something. I think she just felt wronged at one point, but I feel like that's an easy solution. I think once like the truth is revealed to her, I think that she'll probably become like a Jedi in hiding or something like that. Perhaps she's the new version of Asajj Ventress that we keep mentioning. Like she's probably like going to become a bounty hunter or like try to help others, or unless she just becomes a martyr. And so it teaches us an important lesson. I didn't expect Darth Vader to be so much in this episode, so I thought he was going to come on like a little bit later. So I doubt that there's gonna be a huge scene where like he's probably like still tracking down Obi-Wan. I think it's more about Obi-Wan recovering and this thing where like they're trying to look for Leia. Again, the whole thing is like a cat and mouse. I feel like especially when you bring Darth Vader in the equation, now it's like a cat and mouse type of show. And especially you have higher stakes because revenge and also Leia. Yeah, so that's what I think. Do you have anything you want to mention?
Well, I wonder if we're gonna see young Luke again. Because we only saw him for a little bit,
Mm.
but we didn't see much of him like talking. So I wonder if he's gonna make his way back to Tatooine. I have a theory. I feel like maybe Obi-Wan is gonna fake his death at the end of the show, and then that's why the Inquisitors and Vader will stop, looking for him until like New Hope. Um, but yeah, I don't know, because Riva, now that she has Leia, it's kind of like it's like back in the loop again, right? Now that she has Leia again, it's like now I was like, oh fuck, now I gotta rescue her again. It's like a never endless cycle, right? But I feel like if he fakes his death at the end of this show, then maybe they'll finally like stop looking for him because they think he's dead, and then they'll maybe he'll like start helping like other Jedi too, and then we'll get more of this like underground network that we see with other Jedi. But I have a feeling we're gonna see more Vader uh, in these next 3 episodes. Because why bring him back if you're not gonna show more of him? And then maybe hopefully we'll see like Hayden's face toward the end. But this episode was really a treat for me. Like I was fine with the way they handled it, and Deborah Chow does like such a phenomenal job directing these episodes. But as far as I would rate this episode, I would give it a strong 9 out of 10. How would you rate it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are giving this like an 8 out of 10. I think I honestly would give it a 10 out of 10 just because I've been waiting for this rematch for so long, especially. And I thought it was really influential, and I thought it was really powerful, and also important. And I honestly, just for that alone, and plus the cinematography, I would probably give it a 10 out of 10. Maybe perhaps I'm a little bit biased too. But well, that's it for this episode. I just wanted to say if you guys can please share this video, like it, subscribe to our channel as well. We're trying to produce as much content as we can. Also, check out wherever you like to listen to podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, apparently doing really well to you Apple traders. I'm team Samsung all the way, or Android. So again, thank you so much for watching. And please check out our other playlists as well. We're going to do week by week reviews.
Well, Akram pretty much summed it up. So, but yeah, guys, definitely check out other content if you haven't already. We've already done our Stranger Things season 4 review and our Everywhere Everything All at Once review. So those are really awesome. You definitely should check that out. Akram did an amazing job editing
thank you.
those.
Thank you.
We have a lot of other content, planned because this month is heavy with with content. We got The Boys coming out, I believe this Friday, so we're gonna do episode by episode reviews for that as well. But thank you guys so much. I can't keep I can't wait to keep reviewing this show. It's been a treat just seeing more Star Wars content back, and we've got a lot more Star Wars content planned for the future as well. So definitely keep an eye out. But thank you again, guys, and until then, thank you for having lunch with us.
See you guys.